November 6, 1944. 8,000 feet above the frost-bitten fields north of Osnabrück, Germany. The roar of Merlin engines thunders through the cockpit, vibrating every rivet in Captain Charles "Chuck" Yeager's P-51 Mustang. Glamorous Glen 3 slices through the thin air like a knife, her silver skin glinting under a pale autumn sun. Yeager, eyes sharp behind his goggles, leads White Flight, 4 Mustangs on a fighter sweep, hunting Luftwaffe stragglers amid the crumbling Reich. The mission feels routine at first. Bombers have pounded targets earlier. Now it's cleanup. Yeager scans the horizon, his gloved hand steady on the stick. Below, patchwork farmlands blur into a haze of smoke from distant fires. The radio crackles with chatter from his wingmen, Lieutenants Donald Bochke and Eddie Simpson, trailing in tight formation. "Eyes open, boys," Yeager drawls, his West Virginia twang cutting through the static. "Jerry's got tricks left." Then it happens. A glint, a shadow streaking across the sky like a meteor. Not a prop-driven Focke-Wulf or Messerschmitt 109. These are familiar foes, their radial engines whining like angry bees. This is something else. 3 shapes, shark-like, with swept wings and twin pods under their bellies. They rocket past at speeds that defy belief, outpacing the Mustangs by at least 150 miles per hour. Yeager's heart slams against his ribs. What the hell? You can almost feel it, the freezing wind whipping through the canopy seals, the sudden sweat under your flight suit. Yeager banks hard left, throttle jammed forward. Bandits, 3 o'clock low. Jets, goddamn jets. His voice rises, edged with disbelief. The enemy aircraft circle an airfield 6 miles east of Assen, Ockmer Airfield, a known Luftwaffe nest. One peels off for landing, vulnerable, flaps down, gear extending. The others climb away into the clouds like ghosts. The P-51s dive, props screaming. Yeager's Mustang shakes as he pushes her to the limit, 440 miles per hour, maybe more in the plunge. But the jet on approach? It's slowing, yet still a blur. "I've got the leader," Yeager snaps. He lines up the gun sight, the K-14 computing site calculating lead. The Me-262, that's what intelligence briefs called it, the Swallow, Messerschmitt's secret weapon, fills his view. Its Junkers Jumo 004 turbojets whine a high-pitched scream, unlike any piston engine. Tracers erupt from Yeager's 6.50 caliber Brownings. Sparks dance along the jet's fuselage. The German pilot, perhaps Lieutenant Gerhard Kobert, or another from Kommando Nowotny, jinks desperately. Too late. Flames burst from the port engine, black smoke trailing like blood and water. The Me-262 slews sideways, cartwheeling into the runway in a fireball of twisted metal and exploding fuel. Yeager pulls up hard, G-forces pinning him to the seat as flak bursts pepper the sky from ground defenses. Bochke claims another, his Mustang's guns chewing into a second jet trying to flee. The third escapes, a streak into the ether. White Flight reforms, hearts pounding, breaths ragged over the radio. "Did you see that thing move? Like a bat out of hell." Yeager stares at the burning wreck below, mind racing. This isn't just a new plane, it's a revolution, faster than anything in the Allied arsenal. If the Nazis have more. Back at base in Leiston, England, the debrief is electric. Intelligence officers scribble furiously as Yeager recounts the encounter. "The first time I ever saw a jet, I shot it down," he'll later quip, with that trademark grin. But beneath the bravado, there is awe and fear. Murphy, from the 359th Fighter Group who saw one weeks earlier, put it bluntly, "My first reaction? I felt like I was standing still, hopeless to chase." Whispers spread through the mess halls. The Me-262 hits 540 miles per hour, its twin jets gulping air like dragons. Armed with 30mm cannons, it could shred bombers in seconds. Word races up the chain, from squadron commanders to 8th Air Force HQ at High Wycombe. General James Doolittle gets the report. Jets operational, deadly. Pilots gape at sketches, swept wings for high-speed stability, axial flow engines that burn kerosene like mad. How many? Where? The shockwave hits like a depth charge. Allied air superiority, hard-won over Normandy and the Ardennes, suddenly feels fragile. But Yeager's kill isn't isolated. Earlier sightings trickle in. P-47 pilots like Major Joseph Myers and Lieutenant Manfred Croy claiming the first Me-262 scalp back in August near Brussels, their Thunderbolts catching one low and slow. Yet now, with P-51s facing them head-on, the threat crystallizes. These aren't prototypes, they're in squadrons, Commando Novotny testing them in combat. Hitler's wonder weapon, delayed by engine troubles and Allied bombings, but unleashed at last. As the sun sets over the channel, Yeager lights a cigarette, staring at the horizon. Victory feels close. The Reich is reeling. But these jets, they change everything. What if more swarm the skies? The brass scrambles for answers, frantic cables flying to Washington and London. Countermeasures now. And just as the pilots begin to grasp the horror, a new order comes down, one that will turn awe into action. December 1944, 26,000 feet above the frozen Ruhr Valley. The sky is a cathedral of ice and contrails. Captain John C. Meyer, commander of the 352nd Fighter Group's Blue-Nosed Bastards of Botany, rides herd on 1,000 B-17s and B-24s lumbering toward the Luna synthetic oil plant at Merseburg. The temperature outside is 50 degrees below zero. Frost feathers the inside of his windscreen. Meyer's P-51D, named Cripes a Mighty Third, feels like a refrigerator with wings. Then the call comes, calm but urgent. Blue Leader, this is Red Dog Control. Bogies at 2 o'clock high, Angels 35, speed 540 and closing fast. Meyer cranes his neck. Nothing, just empty blue. And then they're there. 4 silver darts drop out of the sun like falcons. No propellers, no radial growl, just a banshee howl that makes the Merlin engines sound like sewing machines. The Me-262s of II of JG-7, led today by Major Theodor Weissenberger, streak through the bomber boxes at over 540 miles per hour. You can almost taste the panic in the intercom. Jesus Christ, they're jets! Brake left! Gunners in the fortresses swing their twin 50s, but the tracers look like they're fired from a stationary gun. The jets are gone before the shells arrive. In 30 seconds, the sky becomes a slaughterhouse. One B-17 takes 4 30mm cannon shells through the left wing. Fuel ignites. Men bail out into the slipstream, parachutes blossoming white against the black smoke. Another fortress loses its tail to a single burst. It flips over like a broken toy and spirals down with 11 boys from Kansas and Brooklyn. Meyer rolls his Mustang inverted and dives after the jets. Full throttle, water injection screaming. 450, 470, 500 miles per hour. The Mach needle flickers. The airframe shudders. He's closing, but barely. The lead 262 pulls away effortlessly, climbing back into the sun with contemptuous ease. Meyer fires anyway, a desperate deflection shot. Sparks dance off the jet's armored belly. No effect. He watches, helpless, as the 4 Me-262s reform high above, circle once like sharks, then vanish eastward toward Brandenburg-Brest. Total time in the combat zone? Less than 4 minutes. 8 heavy bombers destroyed or crippled. No German losses. Back at Deben, the debrief room is silent, except for the scratch of pencils. General William Kepner, commander of the 8th Fighter Command, slams the table so hard his coffee jumps. 4 airplanes just tore the heart out of a 400-plane raid. 4! If they ever get 50 of those things in the air at once, we're finished over Germany. Intelligence officers pin new reconnaissance photos to the wall. Akmar, Leckfield, Parchim, Schwabisch Hall. Jet bases sprouting like poisonous mushrooms. Each red circle a nest of swallows. Estimates vary wildly. 200 built, maybe 300. Engines still fragile, yes, but improving. Hitler has personally ordered them into mass production. Hitler's last gamble. Pilots stare at the photos and feel something they haven't felt in 2 years: fear. That night in the officers' club at Steeple Morden, a shaken B-17 pilot from the 100th Bomb Group raises a glass with trembling hands. "To the day we shoot those bastards down." No one laughs, no one claps. They just drink. Because everyone in the room knows the math. A single Me-262 can make 3 firing passes on a bomber formation before a P-51 can even get within range. Multiply that by 50, 100. In Washington, Hap Arnold reads the casualty reports and reaches for the secure phone to London. In London, Carl Spaatz stares at the ceiling and mutters one word: priorities. The Jets have drawn first blood. Now the question is no longer, what are they? It's, how do we kill them before they kill us? And the answer is coming. Not from the sky, but from the ground. February 22nd, 1945, 0400 hours, 8th Air Force Headquarters, High Wycombe, England. The map room glows red under blackout lamps. General Jimmy Doolittle stands alone in front of a wall-sized chart of Western Germany, cigarette burning forgotten between his fingers. Red grease pencil circles mark every known or suspected Me-262 base: Lechfeld, Parcham, Schwabisch Hall, Rhine, Akmer. 23 in all. He doesn't blink for a long time. Then he turns to the room full of colonels and says the sentence that will rewrite the final act of the air war. "Gentlemen, from this moment forward, the jets are priority 1. Everything else, repeat, everything, is secondary. We are going to destroy those airplanes on the ground if we have to tear up every airfield in Germany with our bare hands." No one argues. They've all seen the gun camera film from Meyer's encounter. They've all read the casualty sheets. The room erupts into controlled chaos. Within hours, the teletype machines are screaming across the channel. "All groups, cancel leaflet drops, cancel weather recon, cancel all missions except jet base attacks. Codename, Operation Jackpot." The plan is brutal in its simplicity. While the heavies still hit oil and transportation to keep the Luftwaffe flying and burning precious fuel, every available P-51, P-47, and Tempest is retasked to one thing: find the swallows where they live and kill them in their nests. Pilots who once dreamed of tangling with Focke-Wulfs over Berlin now get new briefings that feel like suicide notes. Fly a treetop height across the Reich. Ignore flak belts that ring every field. Strafe until your guns melt or you die. Do not, repeat, do not climb after jets if they get airborne. Your job is the concrete, the hangars, the fuel bowsers, and every silver shape you see with swept wings. February 25th dawns iron gray and perfect for hunting. At 0730, 450 Mustangs and Thunderbolts lift off from East Anglia and Essex in the greatest low-level onslaught of the war. They come in waves, skimming hedgerows at 400 miles per hour, prop tips flicking frost from the fields. Over Akmer, Colonel Everett Stewart's 355th Fighter Group catches Commando Schenk taxiing out. The Germans never get off the ground. 16 Me-262s shredded on the dispersal pans before their pilots can even spool the yummos. Hangars erupt in secondary explosions that light the dawn like false suns. At Lechfeld, the 357th, Hub Zemke's Yoxford boys find 30 jets lined up like ducks. Captain Chuck Yeager is leading again. He rolls in first, guns hammering, walking 50 caliber fire across the flight line. 1262 tries to scramble. Yeager's second burst takes the canopy off. The pilot never gets out. By nightfall on the 25th, 8 Air Force claims 72 Me-262s destroyed or heavily damaged, most on the ground. Actual count will later be revised down, but the damage is apocalyptic. Runways cratered, fuel dumps blazing, spare Jumo engines scattered like broken toys. And the pilots come home different men. They used to count victories by swastikas painted on the fuselage. Now they count hangars burning and concrete ripped open. In the mess that night, a young lieutenant from the 4th Fighter Group stares at his shaking hands and whispers, "I just shot up $15 million worth of airplane, and I feel nothing." Because the awe is gone. The terror is gone. Only cold purpose remains. But the Germans aren't finished yet. In the wreckage of Lechfeld, a furious Adolf Galland, stripped of command but still pulling strings, screams into a telephone, "They will pay for this in blood!" And in a hidden forest near Munich, Germany, technicians are already dragging tarpaulins off something even faster, something that will make the Me-262 look like a training glider. March 18, 1945, 07:15 hours. A pine forest 30 miles southeast of Munich, Germany. The trees are so thick the morning sun barely touches the ground. Beneath the canopy, a stretch of Autobahn, A8 near Parching, has been widened into a secret runway. Concrete slabs hidden under camouflage netting. Fuel bowsers painted forest green. Dispersal bays carved between the trunks like spider holes. This is JV-44, the last refuge of the Luftwaffe's greatest. Adolf Galland, demoted, disgraced, but still the finest fighter leader Germany ever produced, stands on the edge of the clearing in a leather greatcoat, cigarette glowing like a red eye. Around him, the survivors of the old guard: Heinz Baer, Johannes Steinhoff, Gunther Lutzow, Walter Kupinski. Men with 1,000 victories between them, now flying Hitler's final toy. Parked under the pines are 35 brand-new Me-262s, clean, factory fresh, and armed to the teeth. Some carry the new R-4M rocket racks under the wings, 24 unguided rockets that can turn a B-17 box into confetti in one pass. Galland looks at his watch. "Gentlemen," he says quietly, "today we remind them that the war is not over." At 07:45, the first pair lifts off between the trees, Jumo engines howling like wolves. The camouflage nets drop away, the forest itself seems to exhale fire and aluminum. High above, 450 B-17s of the 1st and 3rd Air Divisions are inbound for Berlin, escorted by 14 fighter groups. They have no idea the hunters are already airborne. Captain Chuck Yeager, now leading the 357th again, is at 24,000 feet over Magdeburg when the call comes. "Blue leader, multiple jets climbing through 28,000, coming fast from the southeast." Yeager's mouth dries. He has seen the new intelligence photos, JV-44, Galland's circus, the best pilots left alive flying the best machines left alive. The sky erupts. 25 Me-262s hit the bomber stream in a perfectly coordinated stab. Galland leads the first Staffel himself, diving through the escort screen at 550 miles per hour. His wingman, Oberlieutenant Heinz Baer, fires a full R-4M salvo into a box of the 100th Bomb Group. 24 rockets ripple off the rails in less than a second. 4 B-17s simply cease to exist. Wings sheared, fuselages tumbling in flames.
American pilots react instantly, but the speed gap is obscene. A P-51 trying to turn with an Me-262 is like a bulldog chasing a cheetah. Galland pulls up through the bombers, loops, and comes down again for a second pass. His 4 30mm cannons speak once. Another fortress folds in half. In 8 minutes, JV-44 claims 23 heavy bombers confirmed, probably 8 more. Allied losses, catastrophic. German losses, 0. Back on the Autobahn strip, the jets land between the pines, engines spooling down under the netting. Galland climbs out, face streaked with sweat and triumph. For one brief morning, the Luftwaffe is reborn. But the Americans are already watching. High-altitude PR Spitfires and brand-new P-82 twin Mustangs have photographed everything. The forest runway, the hidden fuel dump, the exact dispersal points. That afternoon, DeLittle signs the order himself. Mission 894. March 21, 1945. Target, Autobahn Strip near Parching, priority, absolute. 1,100 heavy bombers, every fighter group in England. They are coming not to escort, they are coming to erase. And this time, there will be no place left to hide. March 21, 1945. 0630 hours, East Anglia, England. A cold rain lashes the hardstands like machine gun fire. 1,100 heavy bombers, B-17s and B-24s roll out in the half-light, engines coughing blue flame. Every bomb bay is stuffed not with high explosive, but with 100-pound fragmentation clusters and 500-gallon napalm tanks. Behind them, every P-51, P-47, and P-38 the 8th and 9th Air Forces can still fly. Over 700 fighters orbit like angry hornets. Briefing had only been 4 words long. Wipe the forest off the map. At 0912, the first wave crosses the Dutch coast at wave top height. No high-altitude stream today, no neat boxes. Just a solid river of aluminum roaring east at 200 feet, props churning the North Sea into white fury. Chuck Yeager is leading the 357th again, flying low enough to smell the pine trees when they cross into Germany. His orders are simple. Go in first, suppress the flak, shoot anything silver that moves, then get out of the way so the heavies can finish the job. 0928 hours. The forest appears ahead, a dark green scar between farmland. Yeager rolls in. The trees explode with tracers. The Germans have ringed the clearing with 20 88mm batteries and a dozen quad 20mm flak Vierlings. The sky turns red and black. Yeager's Mustang shudders as 20mm shells tear through his starboard wing. He doesn't flinch. He walks his 50s across a line of parked Me-262s under the netting. Fuel tanks rupture. Jumo engines detonate like bombs. One jet tries to taxi. Yeager's second burst takes the pilot's head clean off through the canopy. Behind him, the rest of the 357th and 4th groups rip the forest apart. Hangars hidden in the tree line erupt. A fuel dump goes up in a mushroom cloud that sucks pine trunks into the sky like matchsticks. Then the heavies arrive. The first box of B-17s from the 398th Bomb Group releases at 2,000 feet, low enough that the bombardiers can see individual German ground crew running for their lives. Hundreds of fragmentation clusters burst open above the canopy, turning the forest floor into a blender of steel splinters. Napalm follows, thousands of gallons of jellied fire that rolls through the undergrowth faster than a man can sprint. You can almost smell it through the scream. Burning pine, burning kerosene, burning flesh. Adolf Gallant is on the ground, screaming into a field telephone that no longer works. He watches his beautiful JV-44 disintegrate in front of him. One MiG-262 gets airborne, piloted by Johannes Steinhoff. It climbs through a wall of fire, one engine already flaming, and disappears into the overcast, trailing smoke and pieces of wing. Steinhoff will crash land near Munich with half his face burned away. Another 262, flown by a young lieutenant who has never seen combat, lifts off straight into the teeth of the second wave. A P-47, flown by Colonel Dave Schilling, meets him head-on. The Thunderbolt's 850 calibers fire for 3 full seconds. The jet simply comes apart in mid-air, a brief orange rose that scatters across the treetops. By 10:15, it is over. The forest is no longer a forest. It is a smoking crater filled with twisted aluminum skeletons and burning trees that stretch a mile into the sky. Official tally: 41 MiG-262s destroyed, 26 on the ground, 15 in the air. 11 more heavily damaged and written off. JV-44 effectively ceases to exist as a fighting unit. Gallant himself is wounded by strafing splinters and captured 3 weeks later. That night, in a quiet pub outside Debden, Chuck Yeager raises a glass of warm beer. No one cheers. They just stare into the fire and listen to the rain. The Swallow has had its wings clipped for good. And somewhere far above the burning Reich, the future of air combat has already begun to change shape. But that is a story for another day.